Hey families, welcome to the lab today. My name is Kieran and I am so glad that you're joining us today. In the next 3 weeks, we're going to be talking about someone really famous. In fact, he was so famous that people traveled from all over the world to come and talk to him, just to ask him questions. I think you're going to have a hard time finding him though. See, he isn't in any movies or TV shows, he doesn't have a really big mansion, and he kind of sort of lived about like 3,000 years ago. So you're gonna have a hard time finding him in person. But here's what we can learn about him. He was a very wise and very rich ruler. He was a king, and he was a really good king, and we find his story in the Bible. And you know what? By learning about this famous king, we can actually learn more about the most famous king. It's Jesus. See, even though Solomon was really famous, and even though he was really rich and really wise, and even though you may know people like celebrities that are really rich or you think are really cool, there's one king that is better than any and all of those people. His name is Jesus, and he is the wisest, richest, most glorious king ever. And you know what? That actually reminds me of our memory verse. Let's take a look at it together. Whatever you do, do it all for the glory of God. 1 Corinthians 10:31b. Well, today we're going to be heading into Grow TV, so why don't you take a look with our friends and let's see how we can learn more about this first king, Solomon. See you soon.
Hi there, little chicken nuggets. It's me, Carl. Welcome to Grow TV.
Welcome to Grow TV. Hosted by Carl, where we have fun with our friends, talk about Jesus, and go over everything the Bible has to offer. Now once again, welcome to Grow TV.
Hi there, y'all. Hope you're having a fantastic day. Quick question for you, though. Have you ever wanted to be famous? That's a silly question. Of course everyone wants to be famous. You get free food, everyone likes you, free food, your life is perfect, you get to be on TV, and guess what? Free food! I mean, living the life of a famous person, that's the way to go. And that's why this month, we ain't gonna just talk about being famous. We're gonna become famous. Well, me, but y'all are gonna come along for the ride. Now the first step is the hardest part, become famous. How am I gonna do that? Well, let's think. There's a couple famous people out there. I could look at what they did to become famous, then I could pick one of those things, so I could do those things. That thing. All right, let's see. We got LeBron James. He became famous by doing basketball. That's too easy. There's Iron Man. He got famous by being a genius that saved the world. Boring. Man, I wish I could just find someone. Ah! I found it! I found it! You see, this gentleman videotaped himself dancing, and boom, he got 900 million views. And he got famous just for dancing? That's crazy. Wait, what if I did that? All I have to do is dance? That's genius. It's simple. This is gonna make me famous. I'll be right back.
A few moments later.
All right, I did it. I did a dance. Check it out. Now I'm gonna upload it and let's just hope for the best. Now I'll just give it some time and hopefully it'll go viral. But right now, I must prepare myself. Once I become famous, everything's gonna change. Everybody's eyes will be on me. There'll be no secrets, nowhere to hide. No mistakes. See, if I make a mistake, my reputation will forever be tainted. So I vow from here on out to never make a mistake.
Did someone say steak?
Huh? Who said that?
It's me, Andy. Did you say steak? Because I am starving.
Oh, no, I said mistake. Sorry.
Oh, bummer. All right, well, I think it's time for our story. Are you ready, Carl?
Sure am, but I'm gonna be watching some of these comments. People are loving this video.
Really?
Yep, someone said my dance moves looks like a three-legged dog trying to shake off water. That's good, right?
Yeah, totally. Anyway, kids, we have a very interesting story today. It starts all the way back in the Old Testament, 2 Samuel chapter 11 and 12 to be specific. You see, at this time, King David was the greatest king that Israel has ever had. He wasn't a shepherd anymore. He was a king, a warrior, and a lot of people admired him. But long story short, David made a terrible mistake. He started paying attention to a woman that wasn't his wife. Her name was Bathsheba, and she was married to a man named Uriah. And Uriah was an elite soldier in David's army. And while Uriah was away, David decided to spend time with Bathsheba. Yikes. Then Bathsheba found out she was going to be expecting a baby, and it was King David's. Now, instead of apologizing and making things right with Uriah, David sent Uriah to a place in the battle where he knew he would die. But during all of this drama, there was a prophet named Nathan. And a prophet is a person who is picked by God and God speaks to in order to spread messages. So when Nathan found out what David had done, he was very concerned and extremely upset. He decided to go to David and do something, and he started with a story. The story was about two men. One man who was very rich and had all the sheep he could ever want. The other man only had one small sheep, and he had raised it with his family all of his life. That sheep was all they had. Then one day the rich man came into town and was very hungry, and instead of using one of his sheep, he took the one and only sheep that the poor man had. Now when David heard this, he got angry that this rich man would take something that did not belong to him. He could not believe how terrible of a decision that rich man had made. But it was at that moment Nathan took a look at David and said, "You are that man, David." You see, David was just like that rich man. He took something, Bathsheba, that did not belong to him. David knew Bathsheba was married, but still decided to have a baby with her. And then, to make matters worse, he had Uriah killed. And it was at this moment David finally realized how terrible his decisions really were. And David felt truly sorry and admitted that he had sinned against God. And then came some hopeful news. Nathan looked back at David and told him that God had taken away his sin and he wasn't going to die. Now God had forgiven King David, but there would be consequences to David's actions. And it would be tough for him, and his sin would be remembered by a lot of people. Kind of like how we're still talking about it right now. But David knew that he had made a mistake and felt sorry for what he had done. And David was willing to make it right. So that's the takeaway for today. Always remember that we will make mistakes. Maybe not like King David's, but we will mess up. And when we make mistakes, we can make things right. Whoa, that is our big idea. Let's say hey to our new friend, O'Shea.
Thanks, Andy. All right, that was an awesome story. I think to remember what we learned, we should say the big idea out loud together. The big idea is when we make mistakes, we can make things right. Let's say it together. 1, 2, 3. When we make mistakes, we can make things right. Good job, guys. I don't know about you, but I'd love to check in and see what Carl's doing. Carl?
Hi, you wouldn't believe this, y'all. My video has like a crazy amount of views. You wanna know how many? Y'all ready for this? 13 views. Right? Isn't that incredible? Well, anyways, I'm gonna keep an eye on this. But take a good look, y'all, because this time next week, I'm gonna be famous. See y'all later.
Okay, what would you ask for if you were in Solomon's situation? If you could ask for anything in the world, what would it be? It doesn't even have to be possible. I mean, maybe you would ask for like a Phineas and Ferb style roller coaster that's all in your own backyard. That'd be pretty sweet. But here's what King Solomon asked for. He asked for something even better than a whole roller coaster, even better than a puppy machine that makes amazing puppies that you get to take care of and they're all so cute and they all stay puppies. Even better than that. Solomon asked for wisdom. And wisdom is not just knowing lots of stuff. It's being able to use what we know in order to make good decisions. Like, I'm sure you or I, we know, or maybe sometimes we are, people who know what's right, but then do the wrong thing. What we want to do is we want to be like Solomon. We want to know what's right and then use that information to do good things. See, when Solomon asked for wisdom, he asked God to show him his good and perfect way. By asking God for wisdom, Solomon showed that he trusted God's ways more than his own. And actually, he asked God for a good heart that would know the way forward, know God's way forward. See, God is God. He is good, he has a great plan, and he is the one person who knows the best way forward, so we can trust in his ways. So this month, we're gonna talk a little bit more about wisdom and how Solomon learned it. But why don't you join me in praying as we understand that, man, God's ways are so much better. Would you pray with me? God, thank you so much for the true story of Solomon. How he had the opportunity to ask for anything in the world, but he didn't just ask for anything. He asked for something that mattered, wisdom. And so, Father, as we understand your word more, as we understand the world more, might we know that, God, you are with us, and that we don't just need to know things, we don't just need to be really good at knowing answers in our head, but God, we need to trust in you and ask you to help us do things incredibly, to do things your way, the best way. So we just thank you for each and every one of these boys and girls listening. Would you help us to go into this world with your wisdom right by our side? Hear me pray. Amen. Solomon knew that God's ways were better. And you know what? You have God right beside you every single day, whispering into your ear, trying to tell you what the best way forward is. So this week, my challenge for you is that you would go into this week, whether you're at school or at home, and just ask God, God, what's the best way today? How can I do this today? So with that said, have fun, be safe, make good choices, and we'll see you next week.